the Chinese exploring the sea. Since our ancestors originated from a farming civilization, they were strangers to the sea. It was not until the Qin Dynasty conquered the Baiyue land that ancient China began to use sea to name an administrative division as South Sea County. Unearthed from the Mawandui tomb of the Han Dynasty, this topographic map was drawn in 168 BC before the tomb owner was buried. Its south-up, north-down orientation is the exact opposite of modern maps. Although there are no locations marked on the map, the basic outline of the Po River Delta is roughly recognizable. It is the earliest existing map of China with bays and coastlines. The small, crescent-shaped South Sea Bay opened a window for us to know the sea. In 264 AD, the state of Eastern Wu reclassified Jiaozhou, one of the 13 prefectures of the Eastern Han Dynasty, and set up another prefecture named Guangzhou with Panyu under its jurisdiction. That's the origin of Guangzhou. In the Song Dynasty's Yuji map, the character Guang, representing Guangdong, appeared for the first time. In the following centuries, we gradually saw Huizhou, Dongguan, Xiangshan County, Haojingao, Xin'an County, and Dapengsu on maps. The Guangdong-Hong Kong-Macao Greater Bay Area on the Asian map as a whole shows Chinese people's understanding of the sea. Foreigners coming from the sea. In 1517, the Portuguese, who had already taken Malacca, were not content to learn about China through the Chinese there and sent special envoys to continue the northward journey. Guangzhou, China's longest operating port, was the first to enter the West sides. This is a map of the Indian continent drawn in 1548 by Italian cartographer Giacomo Gastaldi. Look at the top right corner of this map. Cantan, Guangzhou, was marked for the first time. A few decades later, Portuguese geographer Luis Jorge de Barbuda's map of China was released. It was the first single map of China in the Western world. The relative positions of coastal provinces such as Guangdong were roughly correct, and port cities such as Macau were also clearly marked. With a single map, there is also an atlas. Luo Mingjian, the first missionary to China, drew the first atlas of China, the Great Ming Country Atlas. This atlas introduced the southern coastal provinces of China, depicting the ports around Guangdong in detail. While we don't know how people at the time recorded it, the coastal map of China's Guangdong, drawn by Italians at the end of the 17th century, shows a busy picture of the South China Sea and the Po River estuary. From the precious maps, we can see the Great Bay Area in history is not only a place for China to see the world, but also a window through which the West observes China. Coming from the sea, cultures exchange and collide here. The maritime Silk Road starting point. Around the 2nd century BC, an ancient Roman poet wrote down the earliest imagination of China. The series picked fine silk from leaves in the forest. The name Silk Country began to spread in the West. China was in the Han Dynasty at this time. According to the Book of Han, starting from the Zhangsai of Rinan County, Xuwen and Hepu, ships could reach Duyuan in 5 months. This is the earliest record of the departure port of the maritime Silk Road. Xuwen was in what is now the southernmost part of Guangdong province. The people of Song Dynasty clearly marked South China Sea on the maps and drew ships and sea monsters, showing that people were aware of the risks of maritime trips at the time. Of course, they did not forget to mark the states that were paid tribute to on the map. From this Huayi map, we can know the ancient names of China's trading partners today. The first port recorded in the historical records was a merchant envoy in Guangzhou during the Tang Dynasty, but it wasn't until 800 years later that we could locate it on a Ming Dynasty map. Huaisheng Temple, built by Arab merchants who came to Guangzhou from the sea, is still preserved today. Shenzhen, which faces Guangzhou across the Po River estuary, has a natural haven, Zhiwan. This is the last stop to leave Chinese mainland, where the voyage fleet sought shelter and supplies. Zhang Yuan, deputy envoy of Zheng He's voyages to the west, rebuilt Zheng He Temple there after his mission to the Siam. Today, we can still find inscriptions on the monument reflecting the important role of Mazu culture in the maritime Silk Road.